Welcome to 4E TV. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you for allowing us to be part of your life, and thank you for supporting us. We appreciate you watching, and I just want you to relax right now. Sit back, chill out, get a cup of tea or a cup of water, and just relax. Let us encourage you right now. You know, a lot of times we talk about lifestyle. We don't relax and slow down enough at all. We don't smell the roses, as we say. We miss the beauty of the stopping points on the way down the road to life's journey towards the ultimate destination. Every place we're in at that moment is a time we should capture those moments with the ability of the camera of our mind, because in every moment there is blessing. We just have to look around and look at it from a different standpoint. You know, many times we're moving so fast, we don't slow down enough to even enjoy. We don't even listen to questions anymore. I have this pet peeve that you run into somebody you hadn't seen in a while. We say, "Hey, how you doing?" "Oh, fine," and we move on. But there's no really interaction on the question. There's no thought to that. There's really no response, because if anybody answered anything other than fine, it would destroy our ability to keep moving through the conversation. We're not prepared for any distractions. We're not prepared for any diversions. We're not prepared to even capture those moments. We need to stop, friends, and learn to be quiet. Learn to listen. Learn to live a lifestyle of peace. We're going to talk about lifestyle today, but before we do, just a reminder to you, as a reminder at the beginning of this 4E TV series that we do, is every day I want us to really capture the essence of wellness and peace. The only way to do that is to give daily attention on a daily basis to our physical, our emotional, our intellectual, and our spiritual health. By giving daily attention to those, we receive peace and wellness. And you know, peace and wellness is something that it was once very common to say, you know, I'm just at peace. But today it's becoming more uncommon and more rare, because not many today are in peace. They're under great stress, great calamity, great drama. There's always drama. Drama, 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 drama. I'm a dramaphobe, friends. I don't like it, don't want to contribute to it. Frankly, I don't like to be around it. Just sharing my heart with you there. I get asked oftentimes about lifestyle. And what's your lifestyle? Well, I thought I'd just take a moment to tell you what I do on a typical day. I get up in the morning and I love the quiet. I love to get up early. I get up at the same time every day. It's early. It's usually 4:30. That sounds crazy, but I do try to go to bed earlier too than most. I don't stay up till midnight every night at all. But I do try to get up at the same time on a daily basis, because it's that important. When I get up, I enjoy the quiet, because in that moment in time, I can hear, because as the world speeds up, it gets busy, it gets noisy. I typically just thank the Lord for the day. I ask Him to guide me through the day with every word and every thought, my hands and my feet, my mouth. Everywhere I go, I'm to guide me. And I sometimes say it out loud. Sometimes I say it to myself, just under my breath. The Lord always hears me because He's near. I tell the Lord, good morning. I really do. Good morning, Lord. You know, I don't have to ask the Lord to come down to me, because He brought us up to Him through His Son, Jesus. See, He loves us enough that He didn't want to leave us where we are in our sinful state. So He brought us up to Him because of the faith we have in Jesus. That the faith, by the way, is a deposit He put into our hearts, because it's by grace we are saved through faith. And that, meaning the faith, is not of our own. It too is a gift from God. And it's not of works, meaning it's not of anything you can do. If it was, we could brag about this magic formula in order to do these things, and you'll get to know God and get to go to heaven. So it's by grace you're saved through faith, that not of your own. It's the gift of God. It's not of works, lest any man should boast. That's Ephesians 2, 8, and 9. Ephesians 2, 8, and 9, in case you're wondering. Look that up for yourself later on, Ephesians 2, 8, and 9. My lifestyle, I get up and I be quiet, and then generally I'll have a cup of coffee and some water. I don't eat a lot of food in the morning, because I go exercise. It's a quiet time. I don't go to the gym to socialize. I don't go to see and be seen. I don't really go to talk to anybody. I have some of my best conversations with my father in the gym. It's quiet. It's quiet. And even though there's noise going on, it's time that I get with Him, because in my mind it provides a wonderful sanctuary, a peace where I can get out there and exert myself and and really get rid of some of that energy and get the day started right with physical activity. God wants us to be physically healthy so we can be spiritually healthy. When I'm there, many times I'm praying. I'm praying to myself. I'm praying to the Lord and saying, Lord, thank you for the day. Thank you for the ability to move. Thank you for the ability to walk, to eat, to have a roof over my head, to have a job, to see, to hear, that I have shoes without any holes in them. And I start off the day in some thankful attitude. Am I perfect? No. But people ask me what my lifestyle is, and I want to tell them, does this require great effort and planning? Yes. Then I start the day. I'll go to several appointments during the day. And I'll try in each appointment. I really do this, friends. I try to actually say, Lord, guide me through this, that people see you and don't see me, that they hear you and don't hear me. Give me the words to say, the actions to take, the thought process, and the places to go so that I can display you and be a good example. Because I realize that the day we live and the day we live in is one opportunity. We don't have tomorrow or any promise of it. Tomorrow really is always a day away, as the old song went. But we have today, we have the now. So we need to embrace the now. And then the day, I step back and say, Lord, how'd I do? And I listen to his correction many times so I can learn the lessons of the day, the things he wants me to learn. And then off to sleep I go. And prayer itself, throughout this lifestyle conversation, is just it's a constant conversation, communication. It's not an event. You don't have to stop and make an event of it. My conversation with the Lord is real. I love him and he loves me. And we talk. And he helps me listen. Sometimes I'm stubborn. Sometimes I'm prideful. Sometimes I won't shut my mouth. But I try to listen. I try to force myself to be quiet and just listen. 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 For 15 seconds. Stop. And just listen. "15 seconds seemed like an eternity. Just 15 seconds. What did you hear? When you begin to hear, it begins to change your life. Helps your lifestyle. The lifestyle is really, in a sense, it describes what we believe. And really, when you get down to it, our lifestyle exhibits our priorities, doesn't it? What we deem to be most important, we live out. And our priorities many times are formed by these core beliefs that people have said to us, or we've seen demonstrated or modeled or purported as the best to follow. These core beliefs are formed by where we put our faith and our trust. Do we believe these things? If we do, it forms the beliefs, it forms the priorities, it forms our life. I just want to challenge you right now to really get back and find out what you believe and why you believe it. That's what I always say when I speak. Don't just trust what I say. You know, look at the Word of God and see what it says. See what God says about it. You know, and we here at 4E, we always speak on the physical, the emotional, the intellectual, and the spiritual. And why is the physical so important? We say, well, you know, that's not important. It is important. Our whole life's important. It really matters. But we put overemphasis on one area or the other, and we become neglecting or deficient in those other areas. I'm going to read you a passage today, just one verse. It's in Ephesians chapter 4 and verse 1. It talks about lifestyle, simple lifestyle. And it's going to be encouraging today because the background of this passage is interesting. In Ephesians, Paul is writing this from prison. He's writing, yes, an encouraging word to believers while he is in prison. How many people you know can do that? Sitting in prison, be all encouraged, to encourage someone else, not talking about himself? That's amazing. Only God can do that. Which is amazing. In this word, in Philippians chapter 4, verse 1, listen to what this says. It's really powerful. Really powerful. Ephesians 4, verse 1. As a prisoner for the Lord, then I urge you to live a life worthy of the calling you have received. What does it mean to have a worthy life? What does that really mean? It means that we have this life that is free from distraction. We're going to have the distraction, but we're able to overcome the distractions. As a matter of fact, we're filming recently 4E TV, and during the program, this silly horsefly was landing on my head during the program. And you know, we are live on this thing, and we're here, and I'm trying to maintain my cool and not let this distraction bother me. Well, there's a bunch of horse flies in the world these days. It's always buzzing around trying to get us distracted, landing on our head, landing on our feet, being in front of us, and trying to get us off course. You know, that is not what God intends. He's going to give us the power to not be distracted, to not get diverted, to not be bothered by these little nuisances that come around. You know, and it's funny, we look at that. We are called to be ambassadors and representatives of Christ, aren't we? That's what we're called to do. We're called to exemplify Him in all we do. And we live in a confused world, and people don't even know what example is anymore. We are called to be an example. You know, I get often asked by believers when I speak, and even Dr. Neal, who's with me today, and you'll hear from her in just a matter of seconds, you know, I want to exemplify Christ more in my physical body. I just don't feel like I've got control over that. What can I do? I want to lose a few pounds and really let people see the Lord in the way I've conducted myself in my life and my lifestyle. I want my lifestyle to be on track again. What do I do? Dr. Neal is here to explain to us what to do to get the lifestyle back on track. So, Dr. Neal, I always appreciate you speaking to us and bringing these incredible insights with your intellect and your intelligence. You bring us great truths. And so I want you to speak to us today in regard to this lifestyle, because we have a lifestyle that gets out of control. We've seen the obesity rate climb, and there's some really tough stuff going on. So what can we do to get our lifestyle under control? Some practical things.
Well, lifestyle, all the 4 E's, intellectual, emotional, spiritual, and physical, they all require discipline. Lifestyle, long-term, for the long haul, is a discipline. We got to get up every day, like you said, plan our meals, plan our exercise, spend a little time with the Lord, make sure that we've got the appropriate amount of rest so that we can get up the next day and do it again. So 85% of our long-term outcome comes from our lifestyle. What we eat, the nutrition that we put in our temple needs to be good quality fuel. We have to change our adage from living to eat to eating to live. And we start to look at our food as, is it fuel to fuel our gasoline tank, or is it poison to bog down our gasoline tank? We wouldn't put sugar in the gas tank of our car, would we? No, we'd end the concept of obesity simply by having to walk to work or jog to work, because our car wouldn't make it down the block. So if we can get back on the train and resume our exercise as a regular part of our daily routine and pay heedance to our nutritional protocol, watching that calorie intake based on our basal metabolic rate and proportioning our calories into good proteins, good carbohydrates, and good fats, we're going to be doing a good service to the temple that the good Lord gave us by moderating and modulating our lifestyle.
Yeah, and notice, I thought it was a great analogy you mentioned about putting sugar in the gas tank, and then that would in turn in the obesity trend. And you know, we're not saying go out there and literally dump sugar in your gas tank. The analogy is this: that car is not going to run very long. It's going to stop. And what's happening to our physical selves is we're putting this trash in. It's destroying our lifestyle. It's destroying our ability to live and be that example and be that ambassador that we need to be. And it's hampered us in the body of Christ. I mean, the Lord told me something a few years ago, and I shared this with you. He said that the church has lost its power. It's lost its power because it's lost its peace. It's lost its peace because it's neglected its physical peace. So the Lord said we've neglected that physical part, that piece of lifestyle that is so important. And we see the constant sicknesses and diseases on the rise, and depression and oppression, and just this constant state of just depressive, again, environments in our physical state. So we want to get these things under control. Practically speaking, what can we do regarding food in our carbohydrate, fat, protein intake? What can we do? There's some practical things.
The practice, we've talked about moderating the carbohydrate intake to 50 to 150 grams. Also watching the glycemic index as well, keeping that between 40 and 60. We also need to start to label read. Turn those labels over on the things that you buy at the market and look at what's in the ingredients. If one of the first 5 ingredients is sugar, you put that back on the shelf. You know that the glycemic index of that very product is very high, so it's going to cause that insulin spike. That insulin's going to take blood sugar out. You're going to end up with low blood sugar, and you're going to be on that vicious cookie cycle where you're constantly craving sweets. We've got to get off that gerbil wheel, that vicious cookie cycle, so that we stop the craving for sugar.
It's really something when you say, if it's the first 5 ingredients, the ingredients are on the label. Correct me if I'm wrong, the first ingredient is the most, and it goes from that down to the least. Is that right, the way they're doing it?
That's usually correct.
And so most things I see that are boxed up, that are packaged, have a lot of sugars. They do. Are those things we need to avoid for the most part?
Yes. Also, you have to think about that packaged food has also been milled and processed and ground. So if you take whole grains and you process whole grains and you mill them, you increase the surface area of the grain, so the glycemic index is going to go up. So processed food is not in its natural state, and it elevates the glycemic index of the grains that would have had a lower glycemic index if they were taken in their raw natural state.
Wow, and you mentioned the 50 to 100 in carbohydrates. Is that per day?
50 to 150 grams of carbohydrates per day.
What about the timing of carbohydrates in regard to our lifestyle? What should that look like as far as timing through the day?
Well, I always tell patients, individuals, athletes, the athletes that I work with nutritionally, to limit carbohydrate intake after 6 o'clock. Reason being is that if you eat a lot of carbohydrates after 6 o'clock, either a high load or carbohydrates with a high index, that insulin level is going to go up. That insulin level goes up during the night, then you shut down the body's natural innate ability to burn fat during the night. When we go down to rest at night, our body is designed to burn fat as fuel in the fasting state. But if we do self-sabotage by eating a lot of carbohydrates at night with a high glycemic index at night, we have a long-acting hormone, insulin, that is hanging around in the blood, preventing that fat-burning state, because you cannot store fat. Insulin stores fat and burn fat at the same time.
So when the insulin is up, we are not burning fat anymore.
That's correct. Insulin is an anabolic hormone, meaning to grow, to store.
I have never heard that before. You know, we hear this term anabolic, building, growing, but I've never personally heard that tied to insulin. But that makes perfect sense. So as these processes have increased in regard to our food, the processing of food, therefore those very foods that we're eating most of the time are causing the insulin to be up high, therefore building us bigger as people.
Yes. The muscles need a certain amount of that sugar that we take in to refuel those muscles that have been depleted. Your energy burning tissues need sugar to refuel themselves to continue to do metabolic work, like lift weights, run hard, run fast, run strong, those things. But once those muscles, those metabolic tissues are full, the rest of that load is going to go to the fat cells. So if the muscles are full, the body has to use that fuel. The fat cells will continue to get bigger and bigger.
What role does activity or exercise play in this whole lifestyle concept?
Well, exercise has been shown to be more powerful than insulin in lowering blood glucose, blood sugar levels. How does it do that? It actually sensitizes our cells to the voice of blood sugar and insulin. And through time, with our lifestyle being out of control with the standard American diet, we become insulin resistant and develop metabolic syndrome, which in lay terms is the fact that the cells have become deaf to the voice of insulin and sugar. So the locks and the keys don't match up. So we can't get sugar inside the cells to actually make energy with. Another reason for long-term fatigue, delayed recovery, is that our healthy cells can no longer hear that voice that transports sugar inside the cells to make energy with and use it as fuel.
And that's all lifestyle stuff.
That's lifestyle.
And I know in your clinic you see thousands of people. If you had to put a percentage on it, just to guess, what percentage of people that you see have got a lifestyle or a lifestyle that's out of control? I know you mentioned the world's about 85%. Is that true that you see in your practice?
Yes.
The same.
Yes.
And you know, I think that's just something we really need to talk about, because we've neglected that physical piece so much. It's got down this path, and people get down this path so far. Is it something they can correct overnight with a pill, or is it something they have to do?
It's a work in progress, and it depends upon the state of readiness that each individual is at. Some people can only take things one step at a time. I'll give them 4 rules and see how they do with the 4 rules by limiting carbohydrates after 6 p.m., starting their breakfast off with a protein breakfast and protein-based breakfast and not a carbohydrate breakfast. We make sure we get plenty of water and a green salad for lunch. So if we start off with some very simple, basic things, then we can go to the next step, which may be adding exercise, or it may be starting to time our meals appropriately around exercise.
You know, I hear people often tell me what they have for breakfast, and it sounds something like this. Oh, I have a glass of juice. I have some type of grain-ish bar. Then I'm going to have a piece of fruit. There's no protein in that, is there, for the most part?
What you just said, stated in that list format, was 100% carbohydrates.
And I hear that a lot.
High glycemic.
Do you hear that a lot, too, in your practice?
Yes, we're trained to kind of get out of bed and do a juice, a cereal, and a piece of toast.
And that's common. But that's not what you're saying. That's not what we need.
We need to balance our blood sugar with a little protein and good fat first thing in the morning, because we're breaking an 8-hour fast. They call that breakfast. Break your fast. If we break our fast with low glycemic index carbohydrates, good protein, and a little bit of good fat, we're going to have much more energy to burn as fuel, and we're going to avoid having those hypoglycemic or low blood sugar episodes that happen 30 minutes to an hour after eating a high glycemic index or a high carbohydrate breakfast.
Okay, so it's you've given us in the past a time before to reduce the carbohydrate consumption. What's that time again?
6 p.m.
Okay, so we reduce the carbohydrate consumption 6 p.m. If we get hungry, is there anything we can eat during that time between then and, let's say, we go to bed at 10 o'clock?
I said limit carbohydrates. I didn't say limit everything. So there's still the choices of proteins and fat. So maybe a handful of nuts, a piece of chicken breast, a little piece of salmon, celery with some nut butter on it, like almond butter, cashew nut butter, pecan nut butter, something that is energy sustaining. It will balance and level your blood sugar without causing the secretion of insulin and then instituting that fat storing state late at night, and it will also satiate those blood sugars and prevent that blood sugar drop.
I love that, because what you're giving us is some practical information that's we can put our arms around. So if you friends are out there today, I hope you took some notes, and if not, if you missed anything, make sure to get on our website and contact us, and we'll actually respond when we can and get you some of these principles that we're giving you. We share these things almost daily, well, more than daily, many times during the day, to people to help them get free. And we see people take notes and write it down. There's some great blogs on our website along these lines that are free to you. So get on our websites and check them out. Get on our websites and also sign up for our free newsletter. We're trying to help you with lifestyle. We're trying to help ourselves with lifestyle. We're trying to create this community, this culture, this following of lifestyle the way God intended it. We want you to be encouraged. So get on there for the free newsletter. That doesn't cost anything. I said free again. We can actually send it to you once a month through your email. All it requires you to do is get on there, log in, give your email. You'll get a automatic reply back to say, this is to confirm you subscribe to the 4E newsletter. And you'll be able to do that. And you can be opt out anytime you want if you get tired of it, but it's all about encouragement. It sometimes gives highlights of travel. We're not asking for your money. We just want you to be encouraged. I want your heart, honestly. I want to get inside your heart and encourage you. Get on there also and complete the I Have Value Pledge. It is a way to build accountability with yourself. If you can get on there, it's written out for you. It's basically saying that you have decided that you're going to value yourself. You're going to care for yourself from now to the day you leave this earth, because you're going to leave a legacy of honor behind, a legacy of excellence behind. You want your lifestyle to exemplify honor. And that can happen with you. So that doesn't cost you anything either. You'll get an email back with that value pledge there that you can actually frame, put in your office, and that's free to you. I want you to do that, to have tools of encouragement. We want to hear from you. If you're around Dr. Neal's area, go see her at the Functional Medical Institute. You'll be blessed. You'll be blessed. People will be set free. You get all the tools necessary. You'll get the medical care you need. You'll get the spiritual care you need. You'll get the physical care you need, the emotional care you need, the intellectual care. You get all the tools you need to be healthy and actually get your lifestyle turned around for good so that God can use you in that way. We want your prayer. Get on there and look us up. If you've been blessed with this program, get on there and tell us. I like your encouragement too. Encouragers need encouragement. If God lays it on your heart to help us out financially, to give towards this ministry, I want you to do that. Don't miss an opportunity to give. I'm not asking for your money. I'm asking you to be obedient to God. If He lays it on your heart to give to the 4E Foundation, we are a 501c3 nonprofit organization, and every gift that you give financially will be rewarded with the tax deduction as the law in the United States of America allows. So I want you to understand that we need your prayer. We want your support. We are partners in this thing. We're partners in this lifestyle plan, this push for wellness. Friends, I love you very much. I love you enough to care. You know, I say things because I care. Somebody has to. Somebody has to. We're trying to encourage you and train you so you can go out there and say something too. See, influencers create influence, which creates other influencers. Be an influencer today for great lifestyle. God bless you.